So a few years ago, I read this book by a guy called Daniel Coyle called The Talent Code. Basically, he did a load of research into what he called hotbeds of talent, places where talent seemed to just keep reproducing itself and kept emerging all the time. And he discovered that talent wasn't so much a inherent gift in human beings, in the individuals concerned, but it was something that was emerged, something that actually was developed over time through certain techniques and certain practices. And on the back of that, he's written another book that I'm just reading called The Little Book of Talent. And in this book, he's kind of giving a whole host of tips. I think there's around 70 tips in this book, The Little Book of Talent, as to developing an emerging talent in your life. And so I thought I'd just share the first one with you in this short leadership blog today. The interesting backstory to this is that one of the points that Daniel Coyle makes is that talent does not begin just with the gifts and the latent abilities in people, but it actually starts with a motivation. And usually that motivation arrives because a person sees someone else doing something that they themselves would love to do. And then they actually begin to think, if they can do it, maybe I can do it. I could be like that, or I could achieve that. And that begins to create the motivation and the momentum in their life for talent to grow. And so his first tip is this: stare at what you want to become. He noticed that in these hotbeds of developing talent, where talent seemed to just emerge time after time after time, like tennis schools that produced so many winners and champions and top 10 players, etc. What he discovered was that the people in those schools actually stared at other people who were great in their field. And it wasn't just in tennis, it was in a whole host of areas, that actually people who become great in their field of adventure, their field of expertise, their field of knowledge, actually stare at others. They actually watch other people who are in that field doing great things, and they watch them closely. He talks about this windshield idea, that in all of our lives there's a windshield, and like a car windscreen, as we call it here in the UK. And through that visual lens, if you like, we can see a whole host of people. And he said it's important who's in that windshield. It's important who we're seeing through that windscreen and who we're looking at. We need vivid images of our future in the people that we're looking at, and we need to stare and observe closely. He uses the illustration that if you tell somebody that they've got the same birthday as a great mathematician, that increases their resolve, their willingness to actually tackle a mathematical problem up to 62%, which is an incredible figure, isn't it? It's an incredible thing. So here's his suggestion on that: stare at what you want to become. That's his tip. Look intently, look closely at others who are doing what you want to do and are doing it well. He suggests bookmark YouTube videos, create a playlist of YouTube videos, things that you can go back at, and you can look at how people do what you would love to do and how they do it well. The first tip from that book, The Little Book of Talent, is stare at what you want to become.